or everybody in that family, whether women or men, should do colonoscopy. I'll give you one story. A lady called me suddenly out of the blue. I'd worked with her before, and then she just called me, said, Dr. Fagrola, how are you? I said, long time. She had even asked me, funny, she reminded me. She had called me during that COVID time to come and give a health talk in her church. And I told her, I can't give that. I just feel burnt out. I feel very stressed and overwhelmed. That's just schedule me for later. In fact, she's not the only one, another person. And they all Redeemed Church. She was like, I said, don't worry, I give, I'll come. She now heard through one person what happened to me, and then she called to check on me. If you know what she told me, she greeted me, we talk, and all that. And next thing she said, should I tell you my story? I said, what happened to you? She said, do you know that she went for a course, and it was there was something, and she went for a checkup, and they were insisting she should do a colonoscopy. I was like, what? That there's nothing wrong with me. But do you know why they asked her to do it? She gave that family history. Meanwhile, she's a doctor. She now remembered her mom died at age 42. It was. So it was just that history alone said, it's nice for you to do it. She said she was upset that, we're all fine now, blah, blah. So she said she dodged. She came home. Then later, she told her husband, then later she went back and she finished the course and she went. What did they find? Colon cancer. She had it. She didn't have the symptoms. They saw it there and they took it out. She now came, they took it out. She was on medication. She's alive and well. Meanwhile, her sister has it. And also, so you need to wake up. Once there's family history or you notice something that is not normal, move, go forward. Medical knowledge, I believe, was made by God. I still wonder how, even all the new equipment they're using, how some people could think it. The way is there to get treatment, and you pray. Miracles happen. That patients I've handled, I'll say, we need this, or we need to do this. But I always tell them, many things I tell my patients, I'm always like, you know what? You do your prayers. That weapon is in your own hand. Prayer. Leave doctor to be doing his own, and God sorts it out. And really God hands. There's some cases I've handled in the past that, okay, this is the way. And by the time we do a recheck, we don't find that thing. I'm not joking. It happens. But to be going, I warn my patients, especially the pregnant women, when they're about to deliver. I specifically warn them. Don't fight your doctors. When you are fighting, doctor says this, just listen. Just listen. Take the words and go and pray. But you will start fighting. Yes, it's not possible. Can you call? You are going this way, doctor going this way. Devil has a playing field. So I'm always like, no, you just listen. What did they say? Then you take it home and you go and pray. And when you come back and they are rechecking, many cases like that, you find that those miracles coming. So, but I'll just say, let's access all these things. Now, for prostate cancer, I mentioned that PSA is to be done by men. Once you see your doctors, they know what to ask for. Once you have problem with urinating, the flow is not going normally, it stops, it starts, just go for the checkup. That one is even when there's prostate alignment, they do surgeries for it. Life goes on. There's no big thing. But the thing is not picking it up. Once the cancer cells spread to other organs, that is the one we can't handle. Okay, there are other blood tests I mentioned. This is CEA for intestinal cancer blood test. You don't do this one by yourself unless you are asked to do it. I'm just mentioning, please. CA 19.9, and I mentioned the CA 125 for ovary, so those are those. Then under this, I mentioned biopsy. Now, for biopsy, as I said, any mass anywhere, any lump anywhere, biopsy must be done. And it should then tell whether it is this way or that way, whether it's benign or cancer. For women, there's something we're also seeing now. I'll start with the teenage girls. I'm handling a lot of friends' daughters. Their parents call me, and I said, well, leave them, I'll handle, and I ensure they have their privacy. A lot of parents get worried when young girls are not seeing their regular menses. I'm going to deviate a bit so that women learn something. Young girls, the cycle is not regular. Maybe they start their menses at age 12, 13. They're supposed to eat every month, and then it doesn't come monthly. Don't get worried. At that age, the hormone pattern is still trying to balance. So if she sees menses this month, doesn't see next month, stop shaking. And don't take them to wrong hands where people just start loading medication. Usually we observe until maybe they get to that age, 19 and above is when we can take action. And you have to see a gynecologist for it, not just any doctor. Okay? There are some women, till they deliver, till after delivery, as they grow older, their menses, they have it only 3-4 times in a year. It's okay, that's their body. But the only warning I give to young women I handle, once they're about to marry, they must see a gynecologist. Because once the menses is not regular, they are probably not ovulating. Are we getting the pattern? So, as she's about to marry, it's not when she has married and she has waited 3 years, she's now seeing doctor. No. Once she saw her menstrual pattern was like that, she starts seeing the gynae as soon as she's married. Because treatment pattern for someone trying to get pregnant is different for treatment pattern for one who is not yet ready to conceive, or have a baby. So those are the things. There's no big deal. But the pattern also goes like that. Then you now have women, premenstrual, premenopausal. Once they're getting close to menopause age, the periods start to scatter. They bleed, it stops, they don't see menses, then it comes, and by the time it comes, it's very heavy. It can skip again 2 months, then comes, very heavy. Or in between the cycles, it just comes, drop, drop, drop. Now, for premenstrual women, it's important to see a gynecologist. I met a friend who was at a little lecture, that was last year. I went to, I was not going to let any sickness tie me down. No way. I jumped, I went. We sat. He was doing a presentation, cervical cancer, HPV. And I had to be there. I'm a past Sogon executive for Lagos State. So they asked her, and he just said, Rabbi, he's the head of department in House. He's my junior. He said, Dr. Fagala, we're seeing a surge of endometrial cancer. Now, where is endometrium? The lining, inner lining of the womb. That is what we bleed out during our menses. And they're seeing cancer there, which was not common. It was always cancer cervix, cancer ovary that we're seeing. But they're seeing that. So any woman with abnormal bleeding, is important you see a gynecologist. They have to do something called endometrial biopsy. They just take a bit of that endometrial lining and send it for testing. Please, it's important. Because endometrial cancer, once curtailed, they take out the womb, everything. Person is free. But if it spreads round, wahala. So let me leave that stage. Now, after menopause, when you know menopause has stopped, and then suddenly you see blood, please don't sit at home. See a gynae. You need to run endometrial biopsy, pap smear is important than to end up with all the problems that occur later. No way. So that you can continue enjoying your life and continue ministering and doing all the things God has ordained you to do. So it's to take action. So biopsies, there are other kinds of biopsies done, any organ, anywhere. They do prostate biopsy, all that is available. They do different types. The biopsies is to send the specimen to a pathologist who will then tell, because it's not everything we look that we can tell that this is, I hope you understand. That's the essence of biopsy. I think I'm rounding up. I'll just mention this, just for everybody to wake up to it. Services around us that we can access healthcare. Primary healthcare services available. Most local governments, they're there. Please, the only thing I'm going to beg everybody, you need to be patient now when you get to hospital. Please be patient because the crowd is overwhelming. The mass exodus we are seeing now, all the jackpot so thing. So, and the crowd is a lot for each center. Just be patient so that you can be seen. That's all I'll say. Primary healthcare center is there. When those ones handle to a stage, they realize this is not for this. They said, go to government, the general hospital. General hospitals are many in Lagos, but it's still not enough. We're not enough. But they are all available in most of the local government areas. So that's why I said by government hospitals, secondary, and then we have tertiary. I'm going to talk about that. Tertiary centers we have in all the states. In Lagos State, we have LASUT. We have LUT, which was the oldest, and then you have Federal Medical Center in Ebutemeta. Those are the tertiary centers, and Igbobi in Lagos State. Those are the ones. Now, a lot of patients get scared when we tell them to go there. I will now explain to you. Secondary healthcare, which is the general hospitals. We have specialists there, nurses, everybody's there. But there are certain cases that we do not handle there. And we know, well, you cannot know. So many times we say we're referring a patient, they run away. No, and they feel that their case is bad. And that's why we tell them to go to tertiary. No, it's because, you see, each facility knows its skill.